Namaste. Welcome, beautiful souls. Welcome back to my exploration of the Tarot de Marseille. And today I'm going to do a walkthrough of the Yves Renaud Gassman Tarot. This one that I have is 1236 of 1500 copies. I believe this deck is still available on the Tarot Heritage website. It is linked below. And I wanted to say one more thing. I have not reviewed or had a good look at Patrick Valenza's version of this deck. So I really love this deck. It is so colorful. It is so fun. Excuse me, especially the Suit of Cups. I almost feel like I am watching the Lorax movie, or I'm in some sort of Dr. Seuss fantasy. It's really, really a beautiful, colorful deck. I'm just going to read to you from the card inset. So this is about 1840. This is a Swiss deck. And last week we were looking at an old Italian deck. So from the 18th century. So this is from the 19th century, about 1840. Two Gassman card makers are listed in Geneva. Johann George Gassman, born 1766, and François Gassman, born 1792. This tarot was produced in the canton of Geneva. The cards generally respect the traditional canon with the exception of three cards: Le Pendu, Le Diable, and what is the third one? We will get to it. There is one other. The dotted and wavy back is a pretty duck blue on this piece. The engraver JP card may very well be Jean Proche, a renowned French engraver. So this restitution was inspired by the Swiss Game Museum of La Tour de Pits in Switzerland. So this deck was created in 2020. Welcome to all of you. And this is, this may be my favorite Tarot de Marseille. I love the colors. Also, so next week I will begin the series of the major arcana. So we're going to start with Le Bateleur next Saturday. And then the following Saturday, I'm going to do a deck walkthrough or comparison in the previous hour, and then we'll have the chat at noon, my time, Vancouver. So some weeks I will do 2 broadcasts, and other weeks I will do just one. So I'm just winding up next week. Tarot Through the Chakras Revisited. Our final class is next week. Okay, so love the table. Look at the scalloping. I'm going to do a little bit of zooming in and out, I think, because I want to show you some of these details. Look at I don't think it's a tablecloth. I think this is the decorative edging on the table, and it is so beautiful. And there's almost sort of a rick-racky thing as well, too, on the costume of Le Bateleur. I don't know the origin of the word bateleur, and I'm wondering if those of you that are lexicon aficionados, what is the root, the derivation? Is there any connection between bâton and bateleur? I wanted to look that up just out of curiosity. And one of the fun the legs look turned too. It's really something. I love those details. And then, when we go to study the individual cards, we can look at and compare what is on the table. I don't really want to get into that kind of detail today, or the wand actually that the butler is holding. It might also be worthwhile comparing the evolution to Waite-Smith, but I'm not sure if I'm going to get into that. Anyway, this is just an extraordinary deck. And these I love these backs. So I mentioned Patrick Valenza's version of this deck. I haven't purchased any of his restorations, and I think I want to have a good look at all of those. Welcome. Did I say hello, Aria? Namaste. And I know I'm behind in responding to comments, so I will get to those. I apologize. So Aria and Clevis, namaste. And Dee, Tamian, welcome. Lovely to have you here. It looks like a sombrero. It does look like a sombrero. Okay. And contrast that with, I find the, what do you call it? The curtain, the canopy, in this papes, and some of the Marseille papes is quite interesting. It almost looks as if it is, it could be a part of the headgear of the papes. Almost like it, if the papes had some sort of boning coming up from the back of the main garment to hold this in place. To me, it looks like it's attached. And I can't wait to start comparing the headpieces as well too. I think in one, I mean, we can't see any of the lines on the document, but I wonder if there, I don't want to get, is that too much shadow if I do that? Okay. I love the greens. Look how I love the facial expressions. Look how the L'Imperatrice is looking at the papes. Not that those two are partners. We'll put the partners beside each other in a little bit. The Imperatrice feels a bit like a Queen of Wands. Okay, so there is the Emperor and the Empress. I'm going to just zoom out just a little bit so you can see the lettering. Did we talk about the kings, maybe the emperor too, that appear to not really be sitting on a throne? That's something I want to that is something I want to have a better look at as we go through. And the facial expressions in this deck are, they're not, in some Tarot de Marseille, they're so funny. They are so funny. But in this deck, some of them are a little odd, but they're good. They're quite good. Now, we would need to look at La Papesse and the La Pop together. Aren't the eyes great? What did you say? The background shading is very beautiful. Yeah, I was trying to say that in a diplomatic way. Yeah. There's something about the trim in these cards that's really beautiful. Like some of the details on the fabric. I really, really like it. Okay. The pop. I'm really looking forward to our discussion of these cards. Pop-eyed. That's funny. And then I suppose when we get to the lovers, we can talk about the... It's actually surprising that this one is not blindfolded. So the cherub that's blindfolded, not blindfolded. What is the arrow pointing towards? Who is looking at whom? And it appears to me that this one is the mother in a different position than normal. Well, we still see the young. Is this the mother? It looks very androgynous. Sorry, that's very out of... let's just go back out. I really like the story of Lamaru and this idea, maybe the possibility of talking about Peter Pan syndrome. Are we ready to grow up, to commit to a relationship? I think this is a brilliant card. And I know that I don't know if any of the Marseille that I have like a guy and two women of about the same age. Welcome to Barbarvore. Now, these horses are not... Do you remember the deck we looked at last week? The horses were attached. I feel like my camera is not focusing. Why? Maybe that's better. Sorry. Oh gosh. That might be a little better. I want to look at justice and la papesse. That is a lot of fabric on justice. I also want to thank Christine Janis. She sent me a new book. So I'm going to have a look at the book this weekend. It's called 54 Devils. And I will be incorporating that in the playing card series, and maybe even in some of this as well too. Which version of the Gassman Tarot do you have? And those of you that have a different version of this deck, let me know which ones that you have. D says the wooden blocks wore out and became a bit messy, but that's the need to make money with old woodcuts. Yeah. I just find the color, I really like the color. Now, this is one of the cards that is quite different. Le pendu, characterized by its clothes similar to those of a lansquenet, its 2 feet being attached to the head of profile looking to the ground. To me, it almost looks like part animal. And a very circusy looking sort of setup with the pillars on either side. Yeah, it's really interesting. Iverno. Okay, so the same one. And look at the face on death. It seems to be somewhat more animated than some of the other death cards. I do too. I wish I could buy several more. So unusual to see temperance as green and red as opposed to blue and red. But we still have hints of blue in the clothing. All right, so the comment on Le Diable and its 2 servants of the satyr, Velis type. Velis type. And if anyone is able to translate Barba, Barbara Bore's comments, that would be great. If you can just pop them into Google Translate and maybe put them back in. Thank you. Okay, so Le Diable, La Maison de Dieu. Now, the ibis in this card, if it is meant to be an ibis, I'm not sure. really fits in with the theme of some of the minors. And I think this star feels quite unique to me as well too. Oh, I can't wait to compare all these. And it's interesting how some of the cards are very blue and others keep that green color. Like you'd think that in the nature, in the background, we would see more green. And the twins. I really like this sun. There's some interesting details around the sun. There are, it's like 3 plus signs, and we can actually see what looks like hair on the sun. And those of you that have done research with the twins and the sun card, that'll be a great discussion when we get to that. Sorry, those were reversed. La Lune. And there is judgment in the world. I'm also going to make a note here. This flag is yellow as opposed to I don't know if red is the primary color or not. Now I'm looking at all these color changes. And this one does not look androgynous to me. It looks more feminine, though the legs are quite large. Thank you, Clevis. Okay, and Le Mot. Now, what do we see in this one? Look at the markings on the lower legs. It almost looks like a strange tattoo. I don't know. I don't think it would be a tie of sorts. Thank you. Okay. Let's do the wands and swords. And then we'll do the pentacles and the cups together. So I really like the minors. Look at those sleeves on the hand. I mean, it's incredible. These aces are so beautiful. Now, what deck was I looking at this week where the crown on the Ace of Swords was quite a bit lower? Ooh, wouldn't that be fun, Clevis? That would be really fun to color Tarot de Marseille to use the RWS coloring book and to use the Marseille colors. That would be amazing. Yeah. I'll go through these quite quickly, but I'll just let you just have a little look. I think he's done a really good job with cleaning up some of these lines. Look at this. Did this change? I'm just looking at the little knobs on the ends of the battens. Quite decorative. And I know we've looked at these already, but I think it's the swords seem less threatening. They have great handles, yeah. The valet d'épée could be the younger cousin of the magician. It's got a very similar hat. Let's look at the magician's hat. Where did he go? Maybe not. The magician's hat is big, really big. And you can see the fading on the titles too. Like I don't know why that one wasn't brought up brighter. The face of the Reine de Bâton is quite squished up. So I learned or I realized something, and yesterday or this week when I was doing some preparation for Wednesdays I'm talking about playing cartomancy in my Facebook group, and these that's a good point, Aria. Magicians and valets both have a professional need for secrecy. What was I going to say? So these are the two younger in the Tarot de Marseille. These are the younger kings. But the opposite is true in playing card divination, which is something I didn't realize. No, I'm just going to get these playing cards out here. It's so interesting So you can see the King of Clubs is old, and the King of Swords, is definitely mature. So I wonder about the history of that. But then the suit correlations are, I don't want to say they're arbitrary, because what I have learned is that the suit of clubs, and I don't know if this fits with the age of the kings and so forth, but as I've been working with the suit of clubs in playing cards, I'm really seeing a melding of the energy of swords and bâton, épée and bâton. All right, are your eyes ready for this? Look at this gorgeous Ace of Cups. It's extraordinary. It is so fun and so different than what I would expect to see in a Tarot de Marseille. It's just so fun. It's just so fun. This card makes me want to work with this deck all the time. I love it. Oh, the Two of Cups is beautiful too. So those bright green colors that this deck is known for really is only on very few cards in early in the majors. So that's quite I don't know that I realized that. So those gorgeous greens are really quite few and far between. I would say probably in the primarily in the first septenary. Oh, this is so much fun. Okay. Just bear with me. Inquiring minds want to know. So, another thing that has me so fascinated is the, and this comes through Anna Cortez, and that is these arrangements, the way that the coins and the cups are arranged have. I like the way that she explains the significance of that. Oh, that's an interesting point, Dee. That's a really interesting point. Okay. So the coins follow this pattern. How many of you do is it geomancy? Geomancy. Yeah. This is a whole other level, and I don't know if it was ever part of reading Tarot de Marseille. But one of the things Anna Cortez talks about are the two geomantic figures that the 7 represents, and other cards as well too. And you can see that that is the same shape. But the 7 of Hearts, sorry, you might not even be interested in this, but I am. If I can't see the 7 of Hearts really quick, I will go on. Yeah, so it's the same. So in playing cards, every arrangement is the same, which is not the case in the Tarot de Marseille. And that probably has to do with the fact that the cups, right? The cups are larger and have to be arranged in a different way, but it's interesting. Ooh, thank you, Clevis. Oh, that's not crazy at all. This is a translation of this comment here. Thank you, Clevis, for doing that. Let's go back and just for a second have a look at that, and then I'll share the rest of those with you. So let's go to now I need to find them. Okay, so there is Le Mat and Le Mans. The Fool card reminds me of a sperm cell, on the World card an egg. That's interesting. Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay. I mean, nothing quite tops the aces, but they're still pretty nonetheless. Valet. Oh, the Valet of Cups is so pretty. Look at that costume. Wow. Cavalier. The DDM seems to have been rather more practically placed to fit the space of the woodcut blocks. No occult references. Yeah. Honestly, in some of these cards, and we looked at the courts over many weeks. If anybody hasn't seen, you can go back and look at as we went through lots of court cards, and the fabric on some of these clothes is really extraordinary, and it really shows up. I love the detail on that Queen of Denier. Can we zoom in just a, it's just beautiful. Okay, and the final card. Hmm. Those hats. Oh my goodness. Okay. I I mean, I will do some side by sides. So part of my intention for the hour before this is not just walkthroughs, but I want to do some side by sides of some decks. And it's quite surprising actually how the color in this deck does. I was actually going to do Soprafino with it, or I can't remember. There was another one that had a bunch of greens. So if you have any requests for side by sides, please do let me know. Let's go to Arya's final comment before I say goodbye to you. Occult references don't take up any less or more space than decorative designs. Yeah. And it's so full of, there's so much wonder and unknown and joy, and I just like taking these little walks back in time, um, and also giving myself permission to see what I need to see in any given card. So let's just zoom in on these kings. I mean, the sheer weight of these fabrics is really quite something. I remember being in, so, and this is something that's quite extraordinary. In the south of India, women, you rarely see them in chiffons in the summer in the heat or in the hot weather. And there's a lot of silk in the south of India, and I think it has to do with prestige and the more expensive fabrics. I mean, they're just extraordinary. But the weight of the fabric and the I just can't imagine wearing and working in that many pounds of clothing. Yeah. Okay. Well, my friends, thank you. Thank you for your feedback and your comments. And I will see you next week. We'll start our journey with Le Bateleur and then go from there sequentially from 1 to 22. All right. Take good care of yourselves and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Namaste.